Hi, everyone. Hey, good morning to everyone. Hey, it's Paul.DiGrigoli. I have to tell you, this next program that I'm going to be teaching is called Hiring Smart, and I know a lot of people out there really hire haphazardly. They hire on a shoestring, and they don't really take the time to hire because you simply don't have the time. And I don't understand why. If you really want to grow your salon, if you really want to grow your business, then there is no question in the world. Hiring smart is by far the most important. And that's something that we're going to really dig into. We're going to dive into, and we're really going to make a difference on how this really makes a difference in growing your business. I know a lot of you have opened up your salon. We had a great week last week with all my staff. They did such a great job of taking care of the customer, and our receptionist, Jennifer, did such a great job of answering the phones and keeping the flow of things moving. So we're well on our way. So I'm hoping that this will really help you, and it will take your business to a brand new level, because you can't instantly take this lightly. I think this is the most important component, besides leadership, I have to tell you, of hiring the right people. And where do we find them? We get very complacent. We don't go into the schools anymore. We don't think there's competent hairdressers in the schools, but you'll be pleasantly surprised. There's always that diamond in the rough. So I want you to really think about that. And I'm going to really dive into some of the things that you might want to go after when it comes to hiring smart. And for those of you have not been on this Facebook Live, that's entirely up to you. Then you can always go back to it and rehearse it at nighttime and see some of the things and see if you're actually doing them. There's a big difference between just kind of talking about it and letting this stuff die on your lips and actually putting it into action. So I want to make sure that you put it into action. I think that's really the key. And taking maybe one or two of the bullet points and apply them into your interview practice, because they really work. After 4.5 decades, I have to tell you, in studying the people that come into the salon and come into the school that want to work for us, it really, really works. It's not any different than having an HR department, and a lot of us don't have an HR department because we only have 6 to 12 chair operation, and some of us are larger. Obviously, we have 50 chairs or 75 or 100, but for the most part, I think the average chair in the United States is 3 chairs per salon. It's the average out of 1.7 million salons in the United States. So let's get into it. Let's dive into it. Let's make a difference when it comes to hiring smart. And hopefully you'll take some notes when it comes to this, because you're not going to remember everything that I say. It's almost impossible. All right, so first of all, in hiring smart, I want you to, number one is I want you to go to war for talent. A lot of times people, they base it on potential and experience, but that they could have the potential and they could have the experience, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to fit into your culture. Culture is everything, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I've talked a lot about that in my 8 series about culture, about creating a culture of excellence. So one of the things I want you to do is I want you to go to war for talent, and that could be advertising. A lot of times when you take another stylist from another salon, you're only taking their problems. They don't understand your values and your beliefs and what you're looking for within your salon. One of the biggest advantages, and I say this is a key advantage that really gives you the edge, is creating that culture of excellence within your salon. And I think a lot of people have a tendency to lose sight of that. You could have one bad apple and they can ruin the whole barrel of apples within your salon, and then there goes your culture right down the sink. I mean, there's nothing even to talk about. So I want you to go to war for talent, and I want you to think about, how do you go for war for talent? You either can advertise, it's free, on Facebook or on social media. And I think your ads are important, but I think you should keep it simple. I don't think you should go into a lot of information when it comes to hiring somebody. You can do all that through face-to-face. It's still, when we hire, or I hire, or my managers hire, we hire 4 times. So the first time is just getting to know one another, understanding your character, understanding your integrity, understanding whether or not you would fit into the culture. The second would be to have another interview again, and then the third would be have a technical interview, and then the fourth do a follow-up. So I think it's important to really get in front of that customer, because you don't know if they're fooling you or not, and you don't know if they're really sincere and they really want to fit into your culture and grow and develop and become more. A lot of times people look at it, they want to come in and they want to steal and they want to take from you and they want to do it themselves. But it's a lot harder than people think. Being an entrepreneur, running a salon, and actually being behind a chair are 2 different skills levels. So you really got to understand that. So hiring is a skill. Number 2, does the individual have potential, or do they have experience? Do they have potential to becoming an excellent stylist within your salon? And I'm not talking about just their technical ability. I'm talking about their attitude and their personality. And attitude and personality are by far the most important thing in a salon. How well do they come in? Do they say hello to everybody? Do they address people by their first name? What did they do when they come in? And that's one of the things that you have to look for when it comes to an interview. Let them talk. I know a lot of times when you interview, they don't let the person talk. They talk all about themselves. They talk about the company. They talk about what they do. Let them ask the questions. And if they've really done their homework, they'll ask the questions, and they'll really have the better questions to ask you, other than just driving by your building or hearing about that you're hiring. And then we hire basically on desperation, and then that's when we pick the wrong choice, and then after 6 months we got nothing but a headache. So potential. Does the person have potential, and do they have experience? Experience would be, being able to do an updo, being able to do a balayage, being able to do, a facial, being able to do waxing. What is that individual capable of doing? What are their experiences? And I think that's really important. So you got potential, and then you got experience, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to fit into your culture. Okay? So I want you to really think about that, and I really want you to study the individual and why that individual really wants to work for you. Why do they want to be part of your salon? Why do they want to be part of your organization? I mean, that's really a key factor, but mostly because of growth. Don't think for 1 second that money doesn't motivate you, because it does, but you've got to prove yourself. And I think it's important to prove yourself when it comes down to hiring and having great potential. Number 3, I think that you have to look at is whether or not that individual is coachable. Now, you might say, Paul, what do you mean by coachability? How does this person think about being coached? Well, you can have an individual, and you all know this. Most of you are all type A personalities. So you're go-getters. You want the best things in life. You want to be the BIWs, the best in the world. You want to work hard. You want to focus. You want to please people. You want to make other people happy. You do a lot of things to get where you want to go and to where you are right now when you really think about it. So you're a type A personality. However, we're going to hire a lot of people a lot like us. I don't care what anybody says. If they hit the right buttons, they're gonna say, you know what, they're a good candidate. They got potential. They got the experience for that individual. The other is a type B personality, and it's not bad to have a B personality because they're more laid back. They're not as aggressive as you. They're not a go-getter. They want to work for other people. They don't want to have their own salon. They don't want to be an independent contractor. They don't want to be a booth renter or sweet odor. they're pretty much on their own unless they're following another individual. And sometimes that's not a good thing as well. A good thing is to have your own identity and be really who you are and be authentic. I think that's really the key. Be the person that you are. A lot of times we try to be somebody that we're not, and I think that gets us into a lot of trouble. So when you really think about it, is that person coachable? Meaning that, let's really think about that for a second. Are they going to say what you say? Are they going to come to your staff meetings? Are they going to come to your educational events? Are they going to study outside of your industry? That's an individual that's coachable. And that's an individual that has goals. And when you talk about goal setting, I think it's important that each and every one of you set goals for your stylist and set goals for your salon, because if you don't set goals, you don't have a target to aim for. You don't have a target to hit. And I think that's really important. If they don't know and just you know, then you're just pulling all the weight, and they don't even know why they're there. They're just there because they're taking care of the client and they think they should take care of their client. And that's really kind of a no-no. So are they coachable? How can you determine whether they're coachable or not? You must go through the 4 interviews that I talk about. So the first interview that you want to go through is more of a verbal. You want to get to know that individual. They want to get to know you. Now, when I talk about being coachable, you know what I mean? Are they coachable at home? You know what I mean? Are they coachable at their other job? That might be a good question. You know, a lot of times we call for recommendations, and if they want to get rid of their lemon, then they'll tell you, oh, they're great, they're awesome, they're fantastic. They only got a few blemishes here and there because they want to get rid of their lemon. A lot of them are really not going to tell you the truth because of the rules and the regulations, and whatever state that you're in, they have certain rules and regulations for human resources. And when you think about that, they might not fit into your salon, or they might not volunteer that information. So you got to kind of figure it out yourself. I think the longer that you spend with them, the 1 and 2 times that you spend with them and just kind of have a verbal kind of a conversation, that's why a lot of times I'll have my manager interview them, because they'll act differently with both of my managers than they will me, because they know I own the place. I mean, they're really going to be on their A game when they talk to me. But they drop their guard a little bit when it comes to the other 2 managers. So I want you to think about that for a minute. And by the way, I don't have all the answers. There could be other answers and other things that you might suggest, or another person might suggest, that have been in H&R a long period of time. But when it comes down to it, you've got to think about the WIFM, what's in it for me syndrome, because that's how they're looking at this whole picture. You know, what can they gain? What can they get? How can they grow? How can they develop? How can they become more? And that's really what's going to motivate them. That's the 85% that we're really talking about here. Okay? So, are they coachable? I don't know. I think maybe the 1 to 2 interviews, technical interviews, you're not going to find out if they're coachable or not. You can go over there and you can test them. You can do a different section. You can do a different part. You can do a different foil. You can tell them you would do it this way and see how they react, see how they stand back, see if they can take constructive criticism. I mean, that's part of being really coachable. So I think the coachability is by far probably one of the most important ingredients that are on this list. Secondly, is their character. You know, usually, and I hate to say this to you, but I'm going to think about this. People don't leave salons. People leave people. And when you really think about it, through the 47 years that I've had my salon and I've had my school, people didn't get along with one another. They just kind of talked to one another. They got by. They didn't really love that person until you really get out. And then when you get out and you see who they sit next to and who they gravitate towards and the kind of conversation that they have, they're a lot like them, if you will. So character is a really important ingredient when it comes to hiring, because that's going to determine whether or not they're positive or negative, whether or not they're going to bring value to your salon or they're going to take it away, or they're going to suck it all up. So I think character is a really important characteristic that you have to look at when it comes to an individual. What is their character? And I think the key word that I want to use here is consistency. Are they consistent? Do they do it once in a while? If they work Tuesday through Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, do they have a great character? And then Friday and Saturday, they fall off the wagon and they go back? I don't know. That's something that you have to look into. Okay? Or is there something that's troubling them? Maybe that's something that you've got to find out as well. Okay. Are they happy, and do they love people? And, when you talk about hiring somebody, we're in the people business. And you've heard me say this again and again and again. And when do you got to love people? All the time. Are you always going to hit a home run? No. Are you going to have a client that's going to upset you? Yes. Are you going to have a client that has high expectation? Yes. Are you going to have clients that are just downright negative and they don't have anything nice to say? Yes. Your job is to stay as high as you are. You're not to fall into the trap. Your job is to keep, that happiness and that loving that people very high and all of the time. And I know that's not an easy thing to do, but don't forget, you have your client, and I said this to you before, 22 minutes in the grocery store. That's the average time that you'll spend in the grocery store. 44 minutes in the salon. So we have an advantage over any other business that we're with that client the majority of the time. So make that client happy. Love that client all the time. And I probably got rid of, probably 4 or 5 clients throughout my career, being behind a chair 25 years, that really I tried everything in my power to make this person happy, and I couldn't do it. And the goal is to keep them in the salon, have them go to someone else in the salon so they feel comfortable in the salon and they feel comfortable going with that person. I'd rather see you have them go with someone else in the salon than go down the street and go somewhere else. And our industry is changing. You all know how much it's changing. The independent salon owner is moving forward. You know what I mean? And the victory is near. And the victory is near when you have a team-based salons and you keep everything going and you have everything moving. So it's up to the individual. I always say this, but it still applies because you could have 12 people and an independent salon and a suite or whatever word you want to call them, booth renters, whatever, and 2 people might not get along. It's going to affect everybody else in the salon. In statistics, they say for every negative person, it affects 12 positive people. So I want you to think about that for a minute. So for every negative person, one negative person, it affects 12 positive people. And that's a statistic in psychology. That's something I didn't make up. I read that 50,000 times in several books that I've read. Okay, next. Trust will never go out of style. And I have to tell you that trust is like a piece of tissue paper. And if you tear a piece of tissue paper, you'll never get it back again. Never, ever, ever. Too tender. So trust, integrity, and character, that's something that you got to look for in an individual. I say this to all my students, and I say this to my stylists. You can have anything you want within my organization. Anything. That's all you got to do is you got to ask. Trust is a big factor. That's all you got to do is ask. And I can tell you that an applicator bottle or an applicator brush or a tube of color, $7.20, okay? If that's worth more than your integrity and your reputation, then go ahead and take it and get caught someday. But you got to have trust with your people within your organization. You got to trust them. I will give them anything, and so shouldn't you if they ask for what they're looking for. There's nothing wrong with that. And they return it once you tell them when to return it. So that's important. Take your time. You've heard this before. Hire slowly, fire quickly. It's not the people that you fire that make your life miserable. It's the people you don't fire that make your life miserable. So I want you to really think about this. A lot of you might say to yourself, well, I need this person, and I need them to bring in the revenue, and they're a good stylist, and it's when they're around this person, or, they're having trouble at home, or whatever. My recommendation is, this is your business. Your name is painted over the front door. You got to treat it like a business. So if you don't have someone in your business that's bringing value to your business, and they're not having fun, and then they're not enjoying what they're doing, then you should stop and you should talk to them and you should ask them. One of the things I do periodically with my staff is that I ask them 2 questions. And number 1, I'll say to them, do you enjoy coming to work? And number 2, do you enjoy the people you work with? So those 2 major questions, and a lot of times people overlook that. Do you enjoy coming to work, and do you enjoy the people you work with? You're with the people you work with probably more than your significant other. And it takes a lot out of you. It's a lot of work, especially if you get 3 bad clients in a row that are negative. It takes a lot of work. We're on our feet all day, and we're dealing with our hands and our mind. So, we're dealing with all this, plus the client every single day, going from the reception area to the wash house to the shampoo bowl, back to the station, maybe under the dryer, get a wax in, whatever. You're spending a lot of time with your client. And like I said, the average client spends 44 minutes in the salon. So you have to take that into consideration. So hire slowly, 4 interviews. I don't care if you're hiring in desperation. When you tell yourself you don't have the time to hire, you don't have time to go to the graduations, you don't have time to go to the schools, you don't have time to grow your business as far as I'm concerned. You got to get out there and you got to do it at least. That should be part of your goals. It's part of my goals. I look at my goals every single day. Every day I look at my goals. And that's one of my goals, to keep my staff on target, to keep them on path, as an effective leader, is to say to them, you need to go to the career days, you need to go to the college fairs, you need to go to the schools. We want to hire people. We just don't hire DiGrigoli students. We hire anybody that's out there that, that wants to work, that wants to become somebody, that's got a great character, that their integrity is good. Forget about their talent and their experience. If they got that, that's a bonus. We'll work on that. But there's some good students out there. You can see, it takes time, especially in the school, because we're seeing them every single day. But we're here for every single salon owner. We want to help you build your business to the sky. I want you to do better than me. And I really mean that, in all honesty. And you want you to work very, very hard. So take your time, 4 visits, maybe 5 visits. Look at their character, look at their integrity, see if they have potential, see if they have experience. Go to war for talent. Make sure that they're happy from beginning. You can't make somebody happy. They gotta want to make themselves happy, and sometimes that's just not into their DNA. Being happy and getting what they want, and that all has to do with personal development and how do they manage themselves. Which I'm going to get into that more as we move along. And then lastly, make sure that they have the 4 interviews, and we talked about that a lot. So I hope that this has helped you in your hiring process. It's the most important things. Don't tell yourself that you don't have time. You don't have time to hire. You don't have time to grow your business. And if you want to grow your business, you'll bring the person on, maybe one-on-one. And I didn't mention this, but I do want to mention this. Sometimes you have to hire 2 or 3 people at once in order to keep one person. That just happened to us. We hired 2 people and we ended up with 1. The other one wants to go to another salon. They think it's bigger and better, and they want to spend more money. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And we don't hate that person. We love that person. I mean, they're a graduate of our school, and we want to continue to have a solid relationship with them. And we want to help them grow and develop. I don't care where they go. Other people are not our competition. Everybody's got stay in your own lane. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know what the average person is. The average person watches 7 hours of TV a day. You know, maybe an hour. You know, and I said this to you before. The news is out to scare you. You know what I mean? And so stay in your own lane. Do the right thing. It'll all come back to you. Work really hard. And I think the most important thing, okay, that you do on a daily basis is to have fun. And I can tell you, when I was behind the chair, I had fun. I was behind it for 25 years. I can't believe 25 years went by just like that, doing 60 clients a week. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it, okay? So hiring smart is by far the most important thing. And by the way, this is all in my 10 disc CD packs. You know, we're selling it for $99. You know, it's like $10 a CD. You can't go wrong. It's anywhere between 90 minutes to 120 minutes. 99% of it is live. I would say 100% of it is live, not even 99%. So it's not reading it from a book or anything of that sort. It's just either videotaping it or audio tape from a seminar or being in the studio. So good stuff, good information. Invest in yourself. And I think that's really, really important. Okay? So hiring smart, I want you to think about it. And it's something not to take lightly, because if you want to grow your business, you'll grow. I know a lot of times you might have questions like, how can you afford to bring 3 people on? What do you do? Then only bring on one person, maybe 20 hours a week. Let them know that, because if they really want to work for you and they want to work for your salon, then they'll do whatever it takes. Okay? All right. So I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me. It's been wonderful, and hope to see you all soon. And next week, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do next week, but I'm going to do another program next week on Tuesday, 11 a.m. Check it out. It'll be on Facebook, and we'll go from there. Okay? Have a great day. Have fun, and I'll talk to you later. Okay. Thank you again for listening. Really appreciate it, and I hope this information was helpful. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.